segue into that right now because you've
Yeah,
already spoken about what happened at the end, the first scene,
the spaceship.
which I thought, yes, they introduced Thanos' brother, which is fine.
And Pip.
Um, but go ahead. Oh yeah, and Pip too. But I don't know how to feel about that character yet. Obviously, this character is a little bit more lighthearted than Thanos. He looks nothing like Thanos, also. And
Mhm.
there was a very good video explanation online as to why this character does not look like Thanos, because Thanos is the deviant version of the two eternal parents that he had.
Mhm.
So it makes sense. But I'm curious to see what they're going to do with this character because of how you introduce this character. It has a comical type of vibe to it, and we know that this character also is an eternal and going to be a part of the team. That's what I do understand, but we'll see what happens with that. I don't know if you had any thoughts about that scene. My criticism comes in the second scene, but first, before I get to that, what did you think about the scene? Are you okay with what they
So,
did?
so this is the scene that we're talking about with the spaceship, where it's been like a
Yes.
couple of weeks and they're all chilling on the spaceship. Those who haven't died yet,
Yeah.
they're all chilling on the spaceship and living their best life on the spaceship. And then all of a sudden you see Pip, who's Pip the Troll, and you get arrows. Now here's the thing about Pip. Pip in the comics is connected to basically Gamora, Drax, Thanos, but here's the big thing: also Adam Warlock.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yay!
Who
Which
was in
we
who was in Guardians 3?
was in Guardians 3, and they did
Yep.
announce him being cast. So we
Mm-hmm.
have an actual Adam Warlock, and we don't know in what form, but most likely he's going to be part of the Guardians. Maybe, I don't know what's going on with that whole situation in the director, but that's the whole point. The point is he has associated with Guardians, which means he could be in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, because remember, it's something is being filmed.
Well,
Something.
I one
I
thing I
don't
will
know.
say real quick, and then I'm gonna go right back to you.
Hmm.
We'll see how Guardians 3 is, but I have to say this from a storyline standpoint.
Hmm.
Uh, they have a lot to live up to because the Guardians of the Galaxy game, which I thought was going to be a bad game, that storyline is absolutely that's how you handle. They did an excellent job with Drax. They did an excellent job with Adam Warlock. So I'm very curious to see how Disney is going to make this a decent storyline for this character. And this is the last Guardians movie with these particular characters. I don't know if there's going to be any future Guardians movies, but we'll see about that.
I don't. Well, we do know for certain that Batista said he's gone because James Gunn is gone,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
he
Mm-hmm.
follows the man who pays his rent. He is gone.
Yeah.
So we have that, and we have the connection with Adam Warlock, which we all know is going to be a connection to Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever we get that, we don't know, but yay. Then we have Harry Styles, who's basically Star Fox. He is Thanos' brother, his actual brother, and he is also an Eternal, which we don't know what his power. Well, we do know what his power is able to manipulate. What is it? How does it go? Manipulate the feelings.
Yeah,
Um,
women. I think he has able to. I don't
he's a
know if he's
ladies'
able to make.
man.
Yeah. I don't know if he's able to make men also, but I know they emphasize women. He's with the
He,
women. He can make
he,
them fall in love with him.
everybody falls in love with him. He's
Yeah,
an equal opportunist.
yeah.
And then, and yes, he is more of the comic relief. Kind of think of, remember the two brothers, the Jeff remember Jeff Goldblum and Benicio del Toro?
Yeah,
They technically were brothers in the MCU, even though they
yeah, yeah.
technically were comical, so that's kind of not making any sense at all. But one's serious, one's funny. Nice balancing. Um, so here's the thing. They explain why they don't look the same is because Thanos' birth was a product of experimenting in the comics, is
Hmm.
experimenting the Eternals and the Deviant, which is why he has the ball chin, basically, and why he's purple as well. Um, so I think that this has the opportunity to be really exciting. I have only known Harry Styles from Dunkirk, which is one of my favorite movies. So I'm looking forward to that. I think that it should be exciting. And while he does not have much dialogue, I know that he says something like, "Your friends are in trouble, and we know where to find them."
Yeah,
So, yeah.
and he did briefly flirt with Thena. So that love, that power to make women fall in love, I think they are going to definitely play into that. But I don't know how they're going to do it.
Well, yeah. Well,
Yeah,
they have to find Cersei and Kingo,
yeah, hmm
and other Celestials. I think it's other. So basically, they're just picking up people. It's kind of
hmm
like Guardians of the Galaxy. You just pick up random people and they join your team. So it's Cersei, Kingo, and the other Celestials and the Eternals.
yeah.
Which you are.
Face got captured too.
Phaesel's got captured. That's right. So you
Yeah,
could
yeah.
also kind of argue that this is going to be another kind of Guardians of the Galaxy, Guardians of the Eternal Deviants. I don't know what's going to happen. This is why I really do feel that they're going to just have a sequel, and that the person was just over talking. I don't
hmm
know what's really
That's
going on.
that's possible. That's possible.
And yeah, and then also remember there's also new Avengers that they're building, and we do know this from Watcher, but there's new Avengers
hmm
because Star Fox um, ends up being a member of the Avengers like throughout the comics.
hmm
So and this is how it ties into the other thing. Okay, so you have Star Fox. Remember, I said Star Fox has been part of the Avengers in the comics like several times. I think the '70s, right?
hmm
So the point is with the Avengers, that version is Cersei, Dane Whitman, and Black Knight, which
Oh,
Black Knight introduces the next credit scene. So
yeah. See, that's a good segue.
there's a reason
So
as to why Kit Harington was just left to the side.
and Kit Harrington, who everyone loves from Game of
Game of
Thrones.
Thrones.
Yeah. That scene I thought was very interesting. I did not know who that character was, but obviously, I think what everybody is talking about is the other person that made the comment. Because we did see, yeah, the scene where Dean Whitman is in his office. He opens up this package that has a sword, and as he's grabbing the sword, you hear the voice that says, "Are you sure you want to do that?" So I already knew when I saw the scene in the theater and I heard it. I said, "Oh, that's Mashallah Ali, who was playing Blade."
Thought it was Jeffrey Wright.
Yeah, I know you said you thought it was the Watcher. Yeah,
Jeffrey Wright.
it could have been the Watcher. It could have been the Watcher. The only issue that I have with the scene, however, and this is what I had spoke about with you the other day, is that I the Blade movie is not being filmed yet. They're still
They
writing
don't
the
have a
script.
script, and
Yeah,
there's been internal conflict with the script.
so this is a movie that is supposed to be filmed here in Atlanta sometime late next year. I think it's going to like in the summertime, going towards August, July, August in that time frame, if they did not change that particular schedule. So while it's great to be excited that yes, you heard that his voice in this movie, you need to know we're probably not going to get this movie until at least 2024. There's a possibility it could be at the end of 2023, but I'm going to go ahead and say 2024 because they've already laid out schedules of some of the movies that are coming.
Remember, he knows 5 years in advance. Kevin Feige works in increments of 5 years.
Exactly. So while I am glad to hear the character, we didn't see him on screen. That's another issue that I had because I feel like if you're going to have that voice, you might as well show a glimpse of the character. But again, it's a whole bunch of mystery leading up to this point. So we're going to have to wait for that. But the people who are overly excited online about this, I understand the excitement, but you have to understand this is going to take a while. Just like the people who was excited to hear that we're going to be getting a Dune sequel, this movie is not coming out for at least 2 years. So you have a ways to wait before you see that. But yes, glad to hear that he is coming. Have no idea what his connection is whatsoever to this other character, but we'll see. Go ahead.
So, in the scene, we do know that Cersei gives Dane a ring what has the family crest on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that crest is very old. It goes back to the Middle Ages. And remember, he says, my family history is complicated.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
he says that for an actual reason. Okay, so in the comics, right, Dane is the nephew of Nathan Garrett, who is Black Knight. Black Knight is a villain. Black Knight also wielded the ebony blade, which we'll see with the blade, yay, which is passed down to him through all of his ancestors. So it's like the family blade, the family knife, not knife, sword, basically.
Yeah.
And that his connection to that. So your ancestry line also includes Sir Percy, who, the heroic Black Knight, was basically, think of King Arthur of the day. Okay? So his version is like a King Arthur. So Percy is the cousin, kind of like the cousin of King Arthur, which means that he has that same kind of ancestral blood that flows through him. So he is a swordsman by geneticals. Okay? So then what happens is we see that Dane, he's looking at the knife, and we're like, oh, and you could see he's not like happy. He's not like, yay. He looks like he's kind of anxious during this whole time, right? So the thing is with the blade is that it's not about who is worthy, but it feeds off of your negative emotions. Okay? So you have to put yourself into that negative space in order to wield the blade. Kind of the legit opposite of remember the Thor hammer?
Yeah.
Who is worthy? Well, who's the most negative? It kind of the opposite version. So the blade comes from was forged by actual Merlin. This is when we get a little crazy, which also will introduce us. Remember, we're getting the gods in Thor, love, God, and thunder.
Yeah.
The gods. So King Arthur, Merlin. Okay, so here's the thing. So you have the Merlin connection because the blade was forged by Merlin, and so when he reaches for it, we saw that. Remember, it started to hum and it was vibrating, and then the blade says, "Are you ready for that, Mr. Whitman?" Right? And then we're like, "Oh my God, who is that?" And I was like, "Jeffrey Wright." And then he was like, "No, it's Mahershala Ali because it's a literal blade." So see the literal blade in this blade, which I'm angry about that, but we'll get into it later. So Chloe Zhao confirmed that it is Blade.
Yeah.
And that the voice that we heard was Blade.
Yep.
Even though I was like, no. So we do know, and those who don't know, who've never seen Blade, he is a vampire hunter. You see, this is going to a way crazy thing, and then I have a whole Morbius thing going on in my head now. Okay? So we were just really... The movie itself was... But they could have just made a movie out of the end credits. Just give me the end credits.
Yeah.
So, yay. So that is the connection to how we get to Blade, but also a connection to how we also get to Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and the connection of Thor, Love, and Love and Thunder?
Yeah.
Which we do know includes the gods, because we do know Hercules is in it.
Yeah.
So we're getting they're going all out with the universe, which is probably why we got the explanation of the creation of the universe. So you see what I mean? Too many ideas, too many bleaches, and too many ammonias and fabulosos.
But I guess Marvel